Greetings from Mundoworld. Today we're going to be mixing a song called Fuzzo. At least that's the name for right now. Pretty much mixing this from scratch. I don't think I've opened this project up since it looks like March of 2019. Before we jump in, we're going to jump right in, but feel free to skip around this video if you want to see a particular technique. Otherwise, we're just going to see the raw thought process here, just going through one thing at a time and getting this all tied together. It's like putting a nice rug in a room, tie everything together. So we're getting a sense of what we're hearing right now. We got some different pianos in the background, some guitars. Pretty simple mix. Let's jump right over to this is what it builds up to. Thinking about the drums right now. I actually think right now we're gonna start with some drum bus, and we're gonna do it during this verse. I don't love the drums at the moment. Wow, that was not what I wanted. Let's get MIDI modifiers here. What we're gonna do is just randomize that a little bit. Random velocity, random position, just plus or minus teeny little bits to try to get that loosened up a little bit. That's weird. Those are showing there. Oh, I guess that makes sense. That's the MIDI track. Okay. Yeah, this is an old project, so there are some things that are showing up a little bit differently than I would expect them to. Let's see if I can actually just get this a certain color. Can I get all these at once? Maybe? No? It just gets confusing. Whatever. We won't stress about that for the minute. Let's just we're gonna get the drums in solo. We're gonna send all of them to a bus. And call it drum bus. And then we actually want that going to the mix bus. The routing of this project seems a little bit weird too, but we're not going to go back and reinvent the wheel here. Oh. Goodness, it looks like there was already a drum bus. I'm just going to delete the other one. We're happy with that. Let's cut this down here. And we got a drum bus preset that we're going to walk through. Drum bus. Pow. So I got these presets, things I like to put on the drums, and I keep them all off at first so I can bring them in one at a time, make sure they're all grooving particularly well when I do bring them in. Put the auto makeup gain. So one thing I'm noticing, you can get some information here. Some of these kicks aren't hitting the limiter at all, and some of them are knocking 6 dB off. That's, we didn't have a drummer here. These are fake drums, so there's really no reason for them to be that wildly erratic. Now, we don't want to kill the dynamic completely, but what I'm going to do is compress the MIDI a little bit. Also, these drum rolls are just brutal. I'm not sure how much into the weeds I want to get with this right now, but that's slightly better, even though it's not exactly what I had in mind. This is taking this pretty well. So usually you can't get this over like 3% without it sounding crazy. And actually, while we're here, one thing too, so you can see it there. I'm just going to put a little bit of a capper on each one of these. just this simple built-in compressor channel. Basically use it as a limiter here. And just what's happening with that? Why is it so crazy? Okay, so that's still way too much. Alright, I think I see part of the problem. It's already turned down. Just do a little bit of gain staging right here. This looks like it's gonna get a little loud. Ooh, what the heck? That just went the opposite way. I'm gonna turn it down on the input there. And then turn it up on these tracks. I'm also gonna go in here right now. Let me highlight all this. I'm gonna say delete doubles. These hits are so erratic that I'm worried that there's actually like, no, it doesn't look like it. Something's weird about these. This is making me really tempted to completely redo the drums, not gonna lie. Alright, I just did some tedious stuff here. I remade the kick and the snare drum in Tall Drum. Shout out to Tall Drum. I trust Tall Drum. I don't know what the heck was going on with the other one. I left the hi-hats in there. I didn't feel like copying over all the samples, so now we just have the hi-hats. Got the kick and the snare, and we can go right back to where we were before. These seem to be behaving better. Now I'm going to double check. We did, I think these got a little bit louder, so I might dial back some of the settings here. Go back and look here. Man, that sounds good. Liking that cranked too. And I know we're getting louder. We're gonna fix that here. Just getting some really good grit. You know, there we go. Knock the volume down. Some mud in the just open up a little bit of room there. That should give the bass a little bit of room. We're gonna turn this down a little bit more. Let's hit -5. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go back to the end here where everything's kicking. We still got plenty of volume on the drums. I'm actually gonna, for right now, do that. Get it down a little bit more. How are we doing? I don't know what this is doing here. It's just a random ass meter. I don't need those to be linked anymore. let's go back. We're going to get all the instruments besides the drums bussed to their own group. Let's say instruments. Can't, my cursor's blocking my view. Bang. Letting it ride. Get that there. Now let's go ahead. We're gonna that's pretty good. While we're here, slap on the old instrument bus. See how we're hitting it. Get that right on the edge. That's too much. About right for the moment. Just go a hair right there. I think we're building up quite a bit in that area. First peek at the reference track, and we got a lot of sub bass, which I bet. Yep. So let's unlink everything. Get this down quite a bit. This has an absolute metric fuck ton of sub bass as well. Especially with this. That was panned out to the side, but let's see. Nah. There's no way. If anything, maybe we stereo it, widen it. But for right now, that ride where it is. This already sounds better, just balanced. The guitars, these are gonna get their own group. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Guitar group. Let's see what this does. So on this is all part of a bigger project, and I've been using this particular phaser across it just for some grime. I was going to say grit, but I said grime. I like it. It's just giving it a little bit. That's just giving it a little bit less stability. Not sure that we need the delay on this group. Maybe a hair just gives it a little bit of subtle space. I'm thinking still might be a little too bright. Seems, it's kind of weird maybe to use the distortion here as an EQ, but seems to be putting it a little bit more in its place. In fact, to that end, let's just see what a compressor would be like on this. We might not keep it. Certainly came in too loud here. I think I'd want this to be... It does kind of feel like it glues it all together in a way. It's very, very subtle, but I'm kind of liking that. Now the question is, do we send that? Actually, there's multiple questions here. So what this is also going to change is all this. Let's go back to a quiet part, make sure we're still okay here. In fact, I don't even want to hear the drums right now. Gas here. Yeah, I do like that. In fact. It's probably not the part to do the compression. I said it. Dang. That was hard to do. Yeah, so I don't like the delay on this part on the guitar at all. We're gonna have to think about that. But I do like everything else, just giving it a little bit of subtle flavor. Gotta have to think about that. These keys are gonna have some of the same flavor. Try a little ping pong, maybe. Those sound pretty crazy. You know what? I might do two different ones. Sounded pretty good to me. What I was trying to avoid there, I don't like how this one changes the whole melody of it. Do do do. It turns it into a do, but it's just a do 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 do. You know, it's just a do do, not a do 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 do. So the reason I added this second one here was to try to keep the atmosphere, but hide that a little bit more. The do-dos. Hide the do-dos. Now, the other thing, because these are exact copies of each other, we're... Oh, just happened. That just made a weird sound. I don't even know what's going on with this. Here we go. Just trying to find a way to distinguish them in tone a little bit so that we can get a little bit more of a stereo effect out of having them hard panned left and right. Because if they're the exact same sound left and right, they're just going to sound like they're in the middle. I'm just not sure that that's going to be the way to go about it there. Let's think about it. Let's go to the B setting here. It's probably not it. It's certainly not. Ballpark, maybe. I'm gonna get back to the solo here just for a minute. It's not quite full enough. Too deep. Now, I don't want it to sound like two different sounds. I want them to complement each other nicely. It's tough though, there's not one that's that close to it. This one was probably my favorite. Oh man, I lost it. Down some of the high and give it a little bit more roominess. Those are still linked. Thought I had unlinked those earlier. I only want to use the Q link. Still a little bit too. That might be it right there. Feeling that. We're feeling it good there. In fact, let's leave it there for a minute. We'll break on this note. We'll come back and we'll tackle the bass in a little bit more depth here.